nadie se ofenda, pero hasta que no estás aquí dentro no sabes la grandeza de este equipo.
Só nós sentimos isso. Por muitos desgostos que possamos ter, valores mais altos se levantam. O valor mais alto que se levanta em termos futebolísticos chama-se Benfica.
Good evening, gentlemen. We are back for season 2. It's been a few weeks, a month or so since our last conversation. How's everyone's summer? Good.
Welcome
bad?
back, guys. Welcome back.
Hopefully back for a better season. Let's do this.
I know. You took the words out of my mouth. Today we got a lot to cover. I'm going to try a different format for this season, try to cut down the time of the podcast. We're looking at between 60 to 65 minutes. Normally we'll do a quiz 1904 at the end of each podcast. I didn't have enough time to finish the layovers, so I will we'll kick that one off in the next podcast. In terms of topics for today, preseason, we will touch quickly on the Luis Fieta situation. We don't want to get too much into discussion with it because it's a rabbit hole that could never end. So we'll touch on it quickly. Signings, who's coming, who's going, what are your thoughts on those? Performance so far this preseason in the games that we've been able to see. What are our expectations in terms of all the competitions, in terms of the players? Who are you thinking is going to have a breakout season? Who do you think is going to be average at best? We'll look ahead to Spartak Benfica pre-elimination fixture, 2 legs this time around. It's instead of 1. We travel to Moscow on Wednesday. They come to Lisbon on the 10th in a week or so. An important match. And then if we get past this set of matches, we then have to play the winner of PSV Eindhoven and Midtjylland, I think it's called. They're in Norway, I believe. And then Moreirense Benfica at the weekend, first game of the league. Won't be easy. And we'll just touch quickly on that in terms of expectations and results. So to start, Luis Fieta. Again, I don't want to go down a rabbit hole with this one. I'll just throw the question out there. I guess, Oscar, I'll start with you. Are you at all surprised at what happened with him? And are you surprised how things have panned out since?
I have my opinion with Luis Fieta, and I think me and you, we've gotten into a few arguments over the last few months about this. It's more like I understand what he did is not there's something fishy, or else he wouldn't be resigning, right? But until all the eggs are laid out, everything is laid out on the table, the proof is proof, and there's no coming back from it, I'm not gonna judge the guy because I know that kind of stuff happens in every single high club in Europe, right? So until he gets something to get, okay, he did this illegally and he basically screwed Benfica. I'm going to keep my opinion to myself until it's proven. Once it's proven and he did fuck Benfica over, then I hope he gets in trouble. I hope he goes to jail and I don't want to see him ever again. Until then, innocent until proven guilty is my way of thinking on this one.
Anyone want to add to that? No.
Well, I mean, I agree with what Oscar said. I've always been a Luis Fieta guy. It's kind of sad for me to see, what the club's going through with this, but I kind of like how we're, reacting, kind of staying quiet. These last couple of signings have been kind of hush, kind of out of nowhere. So the club's kind of focused on the right things, less focused on, all that kind of BS that's going on in the background. So I like the way Rui Costa has kind of taken over and kind of focused our, at least, most of the attention on the upcoming season, putting together the roster and focusing on Champions League.
Jay, anything to add to that?
No, I mean, I kind of agree with what Oscar. It's tough to say until they figure all the information out and everything happens. But I don't know. It just sounds fishy. It doesn't look good, especially to start off the year. But we'll see what happens, and hope we got a couple of big games coming up, and hopefully we can react good on the field at least.
Do you guys think it's the right decision to do what Rui Costa said in his interview the other day with TV, where the plan is to have elections before the end of the year? He said he didn't want to be basically the guy who fell into that next spot and ended up being the president. Or do you think you follow the chain of command and your vice president becomes your president and he stays for the remainder of the tenure unless something happens and he ends up getting kicked out? But do you agree with the approach of having the elections before the end of the year, or do you think it should have just stayed with you follow the tenure and you stay? Who wants to jump on that one?
I'll be honest. I like Rui Costa as the president, and I think if not 80%, if not more than 80% of the Benfiquistas also follow that train of thought. Even if it goes to elections, I think he wins, and it's more of a peace of mind for him that the Benfiquistas elected him. So I don't mind going to elections and having him win fair and square.
That was going to be my next question also to you, Kenny and Jay, is in addition to what I asked, when elections come around, and we assume that Rui Costa will be in the elections, do you think he wins?
Well,
he's going to be tough to beat. At least I think so.
I mean, JNL had a pretty good, strong following. So I think a lot of the anti, Luis Felipe Vieira fan base is also like against, I think, somewhat against Rui Costa as well. They want the whole Direção out of there. So I think it will be a tougher race, but I hate the elections. I think, you saw the distraction it was last year. I think, the people that are anti-Luis Felipe Vieira and anti the Direção that's in there right now, they're gonna continue down that path. They're just gonna cause more divide in the, amongst the team. I agree with Oscar though. I think, having an election and having, hopefully a landslide win by one or the other will kind of just like unify everyone instead of the division that we have right now.
Yeah. But
it's going to be a huge distraction, and we have a very, we have to come back and be strong as a unit, as a team, as a Direção, the whole thing. So I hate the fact that we have to deal with that in September or October, whenever it happens.
And another thing I gotta say is, if I knew right now ahead of time that Rui Costa, if they go to elections, Rui Costa loses, I would rather not have elections.
So that was. Do you think so? Just quickly to close off on this, do you think that being elections in October, November, do you think it's going to essentially come down to results, right? Like, because realistically, Rui Costa is this idolized player at Benfica, and I think there's a problem with people being able to separate the player from the guy that's the president or the dirigente or whatever he was. Do you think that? I personally think that if they were to have elections today, Rui Costa wins, and I think by a substantial margin. If Benfica starts off the season well, gets into Champions League, the results are flowing, I think he wins by a large margin. If Benfica gets knocked out of the Champions League, do you think that puts in jeopardy Rui Costa's tenure as president of the club when it comes to an election?
I do. Just like Luis Felipe last year when they wasted all that money and then they came out of champions, right? Everybody wanted them out. You waste all this money and you can't even make champions. So Rui Costa be the same thing. You just spent 17 million on the Ukrainian player and all that. If those guys don't pan out, same thing.
I think that's too early though to tell. I think Jesus' job is at risk. I think he's more at risk than Rui Costa. I think I liked what I saw from his interview. I can see. Yeah, I'm obviously that's my idol, right? Rui Costa is my idol, but I can totally see the Rui Costa, the president or the executive. Like you can see the difference, and I like the way he's handled it. I think that he's the right man for the job, but I wouldn't think it would be at risk if we failed to get into Champions League or have
not a risk because I'm talking about elections. If we had elections, you just said it would be a tough race, right?
I
So
think
with losing out of Champions, you don't think it'll be even tougher?
I think it's tougher. I already think it's tough as it is because JNL had a huge following. I don't think. I think if he's going to lose, it's not going to be whether it's because it's a bad start. I just think he's going to lose if the JNL people really stick with him.
Right. But it'll tip the balance of the scale a little bit more towards Rui Costa or away from Rui Costa if he makes champions or doesn't make champions. So just like it did for Luis Vieira, like last year when we came out, everybody wanted his head. And if he made champions, went into the group stage of champions, it would have been a different story. Look at that. You wasted money, but went to champions.
Yeah.
So, Jay, what were we going to say?
I mean, I honestly don't see him losing at all, even if it goes to election or not. But, I mean, Oscar and Kenny kind of said it all between both sides. It all depends on – so it's definitely going to be in October?
They said before the end of the year, but normally the statutos say that you need like a 2-month time frame just to be able to set up the candidacy and everyone get adequate time to be able to put things together. So I would anticipate October probably the earliest, November probably most likely.
I just hope it's not like big news like Kenny said it like last year and becomes a distraction. We need a win this year. So we need to have the team concentrated on the field more than what's the noise outside.
Yeah, I agree. And that's why I hate elections in the middle of a season.
Yeah.
Rui Costa did admit to saying that he would look at the changing the statutos to potentially change the elections to during the off season, not in the middle of the season. But he said now's not the time to think about that. Right now, he wants to focus on preparing the season, getting into Champions League, getting all the teams from the Modalidades ready to go, and then they'll take that next step. Before
you jump into the next thing, if this comes out that Luis Vieira is innocent of all, is not guilty of anything that's happened, what happens there since he resigned? He's out anyways.
Yeah, he would basically have to re-elect himself or recandidate himself to.
So him resigning, did he had a choice or he just did it out of goodwill?
So he did it, but he was essentially forced. He was strong-hand, basically. If he didn't resign, the judge wouldn't have released him. He would have stayed in jail. Him resigning basically was like saying, okay, all this stuff that he's being accused of, if he resigns, he now cannot continue that process, right? Because he's not involved in Benfica, so he can't continue this process. Whereas if he didn't resign, they couldn't let him out of jail because he could still basically carry on what he was doing. So him resigning wasn't, whether it was his choice or not, I don't know, but it was more because if he didn't, he would stay in jail. And now he's on house arrest, but he needs to come up with a $3 million payment basically to allow him to come off of house arrest. And he's offered his Benfica shares in one of his buildings. I can't remember what it was, like a complex, but the judge said that it didn't equate to that $3 million. So he's still trying to figure out where he can come up with that.
It's essentially part of, it's part of his conditions of release is
exactly.
He can't talk, he can't have any communication with Rui Costa or any of the Direção. So how can he continue to, be part of the Direção or run as president if he can't have any communication with them? So eventually they kind of strong-armed him into resigning, essentially.
Quickly here, Luca Furtado says he thinks Rui Costa is the ideal person to be in charge of the club. Benfiquista since birth. He knows our Mística. He was a world-class player. And he just started, but he sees a lot of good things out of him, along with Rui Pedro Braz. Um abraço, Luca. I will say that Rui Pedro Braz is one of those guys that everyone criticized. Like, we went and got this guy from TV. What does he know about doing what he's doing in the game? And I mean, he's put his head down, and whether it's him or others involved, obviously he's not the only one doing it, but I think that they've pulled off some pretty interesting deals. And we talked about it on chat as well. I think Rui Costa's pull in the world of football, I think, plays a massive factor, right? Like the newspaper recently said that Rui Costa called Shevchenko while he was at the Euro, right, to have a conversation with Yaramchuk, right? Like, is that something like someone like Rui Costa having these relationships, right? Same thing with Maldini, with Maite, right? I think having someone of that caliber that has those friendships across the world of the sport, I think gives you a leg up. And
sure.
I think that could make a serious difference for us.
And that like the same thing when Rui Costa became president of Benfica, or not, we thought that he was going to run for presidency last year. Dude, Rui Costa becoming president of Benfica, it's almost like Figo becoming president of Sporting. The contacts those two can create and players that they can bring in because of their name is insane. I was so scared of Sporting signing Figo as a president, though, or not signing, but like having him run.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Rui Costa's been already doing that. I mean, he's been doing that behind the scenes.
Yeah, but when Bruno Carvalho left, there was rumors that Figo's going to take over.
Yeah,
and so I was scared. I was actually scared at that time. I was like, dude, the Figo has so many connections that didn't happen.
Telmo asks us about Yaramchuk, which we're going to get to right now. So I'm going to hold on to your question, Telmo. Coming and going and returns. So arrivals so far this season. Yaramchuk from Ghent, $18.7 million for 75% of his pass. Maite from Torino, $6.6 million. Gil Diaz from Monaco, $1.65 million. Rodrigo Pinho and João Mario from Marítimo and Inter, both free transfers.
Were they really though?
The João Mario one was free. I'll use air quotes.
Yeah, but 7 million. Let's count on 7 million.
Well, we're probably gonna have to buy that guy. What's his name, Lazaro or whatever his name is, to basically compensate for the free transfer that we got from. But hey, it was free on the papers, so that's all.
It's no, but it's the offer was 7 million. And they accepted. So 7 million is what I'm counting if he got lost in that deal.
Returns, at least relevant returns. We got Ferro, Vinicius, Florentino, Jedson, and Jota. Rumor today, Vinny might be headed to Eintracht Frankfurt for a loan with the obligation to buy, $25 million fee. And departures, we got Pedrinho to Shakhtar for $19.8 million.
Unbelievable.
He just scored. This a couple days ago.
Congratulations.
Nuno Tavares, $8.8 million.
How's the apples, boys?
He leaves the one team and he goes to the other team. Like, I can't get away from this guy. Like, I don't know what the hell. And then he scores on his first game.
Dude, I'm telling you, you're gonna be his biggest fan by the end of the year.
My God. Hey, listen.
My God.
I hope it can't get any worse, right? Like, I hope that it turns out and he ends up being good, but I'm not holding my breath. Franco Servi to Celta Vigo, $4.4 million. Caio Lucas went to Sharjah FC in the UAE for $2.2 million. How the hell did we get money for that guy? Krovinovic went to Hajduk Split after he was shit talking Jorge Jesus. $1.65 billion. Alpha Smirdu just went to Vitória de Guimarães on a permanent deal, $1.65 million. And then Tiago Dantas went to Tondela on a loan. And Nuno Santos went to Paços Ferreira on a loan as well. Nuno Santos is the one that was at Boa Vista last year. So, with all of that said,
you talked about the purchases, but we had a lot of players back from loan.
I said the relevant ones: Ferro, Vini, Florentino, Jedson, and Jota. There was a bunch of others, Yanni Gonzalez. But the relevant one, those are the most relevant ones. So with all of that, Jay, I'm going to start with you. Who do you think, of all of those signings, who are you most excited about?
Probably
it could be signing, or it could be someone that came back on loan.
I'm excited to see João Mario in the middle. I mean, especially that's where we struggled a lot last year, and I feel like we kind of attacked that position this year with Mate and João Mario. I'm just hoping that he can kind of do the same things that he usually does, especially what he did at Spartak last season. I'm surprised, like you and Oscar were talking about the deal. I didn't even hear about that $7 million, or we have to buy someone. I didn't hear about that, but that's kind of funny. But yeah, it was a position that we struggled a lot. We won't see Tarab probably too much.
Don't hold your breath. We might still.
Yeah, but like I don't know, not as much as we did last year. Even though he started coming along pretty well towards the end of the year, but I'm excited for that. To be honest, hopefully try to fix our middle of the field where we kind of struggled a lot last season. We kind of got dominated in games.
Kenny, who are you most excited about?
Well, up till about yesterday or 2 days ago was João Mario, because like Jay said, I mean that was the biggest weakness for me the entire season last year. I mean everyone knows that, so he's going to be a huge help. But I think Yaremchuk is going to be a stud player. I'm curious to see how we play.
Oscar's like another Darwin.
Darwin.
Let him
Exactly what I was
finish.
gonna say.
No, he had a great. I mean, he had a great Euro. We have a ton of forwards, so I'm curious to see. I mean, I would assume that he's going to play a 4-4-2, or else you got a bunch of money sitting on the bench. But and Gonzalo Ramos has had a good preseason, so someone's gonna either you play with one forward and a lot of money on the bench, or a lot of talent on the bench, or you're gonna play with two forwards. So I'm curious to see what he does there. But I think, yeah, those are the two that I'm excited about. The interesting one is the Might guy. I don't know where he fits in. That was kind of a weird signing. I'm sure there's some sort of plan for him. They can't. There has to be something going on there. So I can't wait to see him play and see what he can do, because I have no idea anything about him really.
Maybe Weigel's going to be gone in January.
I don't know. There hasn't been a lot of rumors about Weigel leaving. They were originally, but I wouldn't be surprised if, I think his name is Maite, and Weigel played together. He brings a little bit more steel to that midfield. Is a bigger body. He could throw his body around. And if you guys listened to Jorge's press conference after I believe it was the Marseille match, Gerson played. Yeah, it was after the Marseille match. He said, "O Maite vem trazer algo diferente ao nosso meio campo. Os nossos jogadores não têm muita força, e os jogadores do Marseille até os levantavam no ar."
Yeah, I mean, it's true though. In the midfield, there was no one that could win a freaking header in that midfield. So he brings the size, but I don't know. Is he? I don't really know anything about him. I don't know if he's more of an attacking player or more of a defensive midi, but he's definitely a body. I mean, the guy's a monster. So
hopefully he's better than Gabriel, which was our backup for Weigel last season.
That's easy.
You guys don't think Tino stays?
Dude, the thing is, he doesn't give him a chance, dude.
I saw rumors that he wanted to go to Braga wanted him.
I like him, but
I think Tino stays. I think he'll be one of the three, because Gabi's leaving.
How about Jetson? Right? What do you think with Jetson?
I like Tino over Jetson.
I think Tino's defensive. Jetson is more of a number 8 that does Jean Marie's spot.
But I saw JJ Galatasaray asked to have Jetson on loan, and JJ said no, he's part of his plan. But I wouldn't be surprised if JJ plays him outside than in the middle. Right, in the preseason, he played him as like a right winger, as a right wing back type position. He rarely played in the middle. He transitioned after a couple of subs. He moved him in the middle, but he seems to prefer him out wide than in the middle of the park.
I'd like for him to kind of be like an understudy for João Mario. Like that would be like perfect. But I mean, you're right. He has been playing on the outside.
Oscar, who's your most exciting?
Obviously, you guys know the answer to that one. It's absolutely João Mario. Until we figure out who leaves up front from the forwards, we can't say Yarmel. What the fuck is his name? Yaremchuk. I don't know much about him. I saw him play in the year. I saw him play in the Euro Cup. I didn't see him at Genk, so I don't know how good he is. I mean, highlights on YouTube, like you guys shit on me for saying this, but everybody looks good. So I don't know what he brings to Benfica, because we have strikers left and right in Benfica that need to leave because they all can't play. Gonçalo Ramos, Vinicius is now there, which is Vinicius and this guy to me is a similar player. So if he comes in, Vinicius has to leave. They can't both play. Gonçalo Ramos just coming to his zone. That means Seferovic is gonna be another bencher. Darwin, Mr. 25 million. What the fuck is gonna happen to him? Like,
back from injury guy. Let him come back from injury first.
Yeah, we waited a year for him to play. So let's wait. Give him another year for injury. Then it was COVID again. Let's give him like 3 years. Why not? It's lucky, you know. He needs time to adapt. But all right. So who am I most excited about? The position that we needed the most last year in our midfield, number 8. That's what we needed. That's João Mario. That's who I'm excited to see this year playing.
Fair. Just to run through some of these questions. So Telmo Faria asked about Yaremchuk. Kenny gave his opinion. Oscar talked about YouTube videos. Jay, anything to add? Are you excited? Concerned?
I don't know much about him, but we spent a lot of money on our forwards, and none of them have left. So it's kind of interesting to see someone's gonna get shipped out. I'm just waiting to see which one.
From what I saw, I mean, from the highlights from I saw in Euro, he can use both feet. So that's a big plus for us. We have either a guy that can only shoots left or shoots right, and we don't have one that can use both feet. And that's a great thing to have or skill to have.
So like I don't know much about him. Is he like a big body? Type striker?
The thing that stood out to me, apart from being able to shoot with both feet and being a physical presence, is he has some pretty good pace for a big guy.
Yeah,
he's massive.
So like,
he's pretty quick.
Like, hopefully doesn't have. So it's basically Darwin without clown shoes. Hopefully.
No. He's like he reminds me of Cardozo, but 3 times faster.
Yeah, more athletic. More athletic. Yeah. Telmo, let us know what your thoughts are on Yaremchuk. Leave us a comment. Let us know what you think. Giuseppe, welcome back, Giuseppe. He asked, does Jedson leave? He seemed to have finished the season well. What do you guys think? Do you think he stays? Do you think he goes? Do you think it's better that he stays? Do you think it's better that he goes?
If he goes to, I mean, he's going to want to go to make money, right? I mean, feel like that's the only reason why he would honestly leave. He's not going to want to stay in Portugal, which is where I would love for him to do, because no team's going to pay him. Like if you got a team in Turkey ready to pay you, like you're obviously going to want to go there over the first division. But I would like for him to stay and kind of be part of the team. But I mean, there's so many guys still that need to be cut or be sent to the B team, and I think he's going to be probably one of the players that leaves.
I think I kind of agree. So we definitely have to trim the fat, right? We got a huge squad. They're going to try to trim it a little bit. I think he stays if he's willing to be like one of those utility players that can play in different positions. But if it's like, he wants to play in the midfield, I don't think he's going to stay.
Oscar, you agree? Object?
I wish I saw more hustle in Jetson. I saw the whole tournament, the U21 tournament.
Yeah.
And he plays like he looks like a baller. He looks like he can play. And then I see no hustle out of him. Like you see Renato Sanchez in the Euro Cup, in the hustle that he had, like chasing balls, always like bumping off people. Jetson is like
I agree.
If you had like some ballerina shoes, give it to him, because that's what he's doing in the field.
I totally agree with that. I was frustrated watching the U21s when he'd come in. That was bad.
Yeah, I agree. Luca says.
So actually, I have a question. Would you guys all choose Florentino over Jetson if you had to choose one?
To stay in the field, to stay on the team, yeah.
Yeah,
I agree.
That's a no-brainer. Yep. For those of you guys in the chat, answer Jay's question. Would you keep Jetson or would you keep Tino? I think the answer is obvious, but we'll see. Lucas says Vinny and Seth are going to be sold. Personally, he would prefer that Seth not leave, but with Yaremchuk coming, there's not really much of an alternate. Luka Waldschmidt, who has been rumored to potentially be on the chopping block as well, if Benfica can get some money from him. He hasn't shown much. If Benfica is able to make a good deal, wouldn't be bad to get rid of him, and potentially going to get a player like Edwards from Guimarães, who Sporting was after, but Guimarães wanted too much money.
That's a good call on Luka. Luka, he's kind of like on the chopping block, I feel like, too. I could see him.
There's rumors that there's a market for him in Germany. but Benfica very unlikely will get a return on the investment that they made. I think we spent something like 17 million, and likelihood of us getting that back is slim. Would you guys?
Is that a JJ signing?
Well, it was in the summer. Whether it was, I can't imagine JJ would have said no, and they would have signed him. Right? I have to believe that he was part of the yes, go sign him. Whether it was his preference or not is indifferent, right? But I can't imagine they would have spent that money on a player that he didn't want. Do you guys, I guess, agree here with Luka in terms of right? I think Vinny and Seth are most likely gone, right? With the signing of Yaremchuk, we have Gonçalo Ramos, we have Darwin still. Right, there's going to be too many strikers. Do you guys think Luka is one of those guys that if we get a good deal, fine, let's let him go? Or do you think he's one of those guys that could potentially explode this season after what he showed us last year?
But playing where? And playing at what minutes?
Yeah,
Dude. There's not going to be any time for him. Like
you got to think, if players like that, like Luka and like Gonçalo Ramos, they need consistency. And with this team, especially the money they're wasting on these Yaremchuk, whatever players like that, they're not gonna have consistent minutes. They're not. So Luka had him at the beginning because they spent that kind of money on him, but then he fell off then never saw him again. So
I'd rather see like Gonçalo Ramos in Luka's spot. And give the minutes to our kid versus the German, But if we can get a good return, I'd sell him. But I don't know if they're going to give up that easily. He's still a young kid. They invested a lot of money. I don't know.
He's highly rated in Germany. They want him to play because they think he's a fundamental piece to their national team progression.
Yeah.
Jay.
The only thing is, like, if they sell Vinny and Seth, then it's just
we have the Pino guy too from Malaysia.
We would be left
get the fuck out of here.
He's gonna get low though.
So we would be left with Rodrigo Pino. We would
was
have
he free at
Ramos.
least?
Yeah,
Pino was free. Yeah,
they should pay us to take him. Jesus.
Nuno from the Portuguese podcast is convinced that we only signed him to stop him from going to Spartak.
What a mistake that was.
Gary in the chat.
Spartak got their own Paulinho.
Yeah.
Imagine they had both.
More expensive though. Gary says, I think he's going to have a good season. I'm assuming he's referring to Luka Waldschmidt. He's a tough one. I think he started off the season hot, right? Got a lot of assists. He was really involved, and then he's kind of like slowly fallen off the bandwagon. And even in the preseason, like he hasn't like stood out. Like he hasn't looked like.
Him and Darwin had a connection at the beginning of last season.
There was an article today, I think it was today in the newspaper that I read that JJ is considering selling him because he's not able to relay the messages and communicate with him the way that he would like. Whether there's any truth to that or not, I don't know. But JJ don't speak English, and Waldo probably doesn't speak much Portuguese, so it's probably
and Jesus doesn't speak Portuguese either.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe that's why Pizzi wasn't starting.
Maybe that's
he
why.
doesn't understand him.
Do you see Pizzi starting this year?
I think so. I think I see if we play a 4-back.
We're gonna get to that.
Yeah,
we're gonna get to that. Be patient. One more question before we jump away from this topic, and I think some of you may have already hinted to it, but is there a signing that we've made that completely left you confused, or is there a player that's currently still in the squad that hasn't left yet that you're confused as to why he is still with this team?
So I'm gonna answer it a little bit. Like, my concern is, I have like a concern about Grimaldo leaving and our backup being Gil Diaz, I think, at the moment. that kind of scares me. I mean, I know it doesn't answer your question, but I mean, that's like the only thing that I'm kind of worried about overall in our squad is that.
So does the Gil Diaz signing confuse you? Do you think he doesn't really bring much to this team?
I mean, I don't know much about him, and I barely saw any games in the preseason, to be honest. I saw a couple, and I think I saw like him play like 15 minutes. but like I don't know what he can do defensively or how he even plays. To be honest, I don't remember much about him.
Isn't Gil Diaz a midfielder?
Yeah, he's a left winger. He's basically like a Fábio Coentrão. Basically, Jorge was just trying to do with him what he did with Fábio Coentrão.
Cara, esse guy só inventa, foda-se.
But like, dude,
he doesn't know what to do with them. He just sticks them at left and right back.
That's our left back, though. Like, that's the crazy part. Like, Grimaldo goes down, and Grimaldo isn't the greatest in the world either. We're struggling to even get any type of money for him. If he was that great that everyone keeps saying he is, like,
there's rumors that he's potentially on his way out, but I don't think anyone's offered up the money that Benfica wants.
I mean,
if Grimaldo leaves, there's got to be another one.
Well, the rumor is that if Grimaldo leaves, Benfica will go after Vendel, I think his name. Vendel is a left back from Leverkusen. And then the other guy, I think that guy from Inter, that Lazaro guy, I think is a left back. I think he's on both sides.
Is that Wendell guy good? Maybe they want to do it like
I've never seen him play.
Like your brother says, maybe if he's good, maybe a Luca for Wendell.
I've never seen him play, but that Montiel guy that you're talking about, Kenny, he's a right back. He's at River Plate. Yeah.
Well, JJ will just put him at left back.
Be careful what we wish for. We might end up with Renda Almeida at left back.
Dude, it's kind of.
Honestly, that's probably the one I trust most.
we have a lot of right backs and Renda Almeida coming back and all that. But why aren't they like looking for a left back? Especially if Gilberto, if Grimaldo has a market that they might be selling him. They just put a price on him, right? 20 million, right? So
sold a solid backup too.
Solid, yeah, okay. That you should have gone with like 3 other players.
But the rumor is that Benfica is has a left back earmarked, but they're only going to do it if Grimaldo leaves. So they'll reinvest that money if he leaves to go get a starting. But the plan is that Gil Diaz will end up being the backup left back. So
that's wild.
Wait, they're gonna do to Gil Diaz.
If it's a left wing back, I wouldn't mind it. But if it's a left back, that's kind of
they're gonna do to Gil Diaz what he did to Servi.
Lucas says most likely Lazaro from Inter is going to end up coming. We need to sell Gilberto urgently, or we can offer him with a nice bow on top. The bow will be more expensive than him.
Dude, you guys are still down in Gilberto, huh?
Gilberto had a pretty good preseason.
I think every game he was consistently playing because André Almeida just came back from injury, right? So I think he's a little bit ahead.
Where was he that bad that you guys shitting on him? I don't get it.
I don't think he's bad. I just don't. I don't think he's good. I don't think he's bad. Like Gattuso says, right? Sometimes good, sometimes shit. But I think he's in the middle there. I don't think he's good, and I don't think he's bad. But I don't think he's good enough for Benfica.
But on his first year, he's not good enough for Benfica. But Darwin sucked ass, and he's good enough for Benfica. Let's give him another 3 years.
Open up a can of worms. So we go.
Well, that's what I mean. Both players' first year, Darwin. Oh my God, superstar! But
Darwin's 21. Gilberto's like 20 something.
I don't care, but he didn't do bad. He played the whole season and he wasn't bad.
He sucked in the beginning. He was
the first 5 games.
Lucas says it all right here. You can't take away his attitude and his interest on the field, but he doesn't have the quality to be on Benfica. I agree, 100%. Same thing I said. Sometimes good, sometimes shit. He's not good and he's not bad.
All right, I guess I gotta disagree with that.
Kenny, you like Gilberto?
Dude, we voted him best player on the field a bunch of times last year.
We did.
I don't mind Gilberto. Like Gil Diaz is a serviceable backup. I think Gilberto is a serviceable player.
I think he's a serviceable backup, and he wasn't expensive. But to be our starter, I think he's miles away.
But I don't think he's going to be our starter. I think you have André Almeida, you have Diogo Gonçalves when he gets back.
Yeah, we have.
I don't think André Almeida sees much of the field.
We got to start with Diogo.
I agree, but he's hurt.
Yeah, but he's hurt. I mean,
when's he going to come back? That's the question.
I thought he was already training back.
He is, but how do we know how long it's going to take, right?
I don't say he starts.
We're going to end up with Gilberto. Hopefully, we get through the Champions League qualifications, but right, that's a gap that we probably should have addressed, and I don't think André Almeida sees much of the field. But it is what it is. Oscar, what's what's the signing that confused you most, or the player that you're surprised is still at the club?
I'm surprised. I'll be honest. I'm surprised that that we're still holding on to Maris the way it's panning out. I think he's overdue to leave. I like Samaris, who's one of my favorite players. The guy that he left on the field every time he played. But I think the soap opera with him is way over past. He needs to they need to either pay him the 1.2 and he goes, or he accepts some kind of like, I don't know, half and goes, because I think this is overdue.
Kenny?
I think the surprise signing I mentioned earlier was how do you say it again? Maite,
I think his name is.
Because I think he was really an unknown, and he came out of nowhere. And I mean, I've never seen him really play. I don't know, like we talked about, don't know really where he's going to mix in, if he's going to play or if he's just going to be another bench player. If it was just an agent signing so someone can fill their pockets, I don't know. But the surprise too of a player that's still there, Gabriel. I mean, I don't know what the fuck Gabriel's still going on.
Get the fucking guy out.
I mean, he clearly him and Jesus don't get along. I think there was another article that they just don't get along, or Jesus doesn't like his attitude. He's training separately. Yep. Like, just like we get, we pretty much took Pino off someone else's hands. Just give him to someone, give him to Spartak, give him to whoever wants him. Like, just get him off the team. I think he's bad mojo and bad vibes on the squad.
Yeah, I agree. Danny says
you should probably trade him for like a player from Braga to get.
Braga's not going to take him. I saw that there was market for him in Brazil. Someone in Brazil wanted him, but he declined. He might go back to Spain. I don't know. But yeah, I agree. I don't think he has any spot in this team. I was hopeful of him when he started playing well with Bruno Lage, but he just took a turn for the worst. Ever since his injury, I think he's just been a hot mess. Like, he looks so out of shape. Like, his passing completion is just terrible.
Was it the eye injury?
Yeah, his decision making is terrible. How does that have
anything to do with skill? Like, I don't get it. Like, unless he's like playing blind on the field.
But he stopped playing for a little while. He was out for a little while, and ever since then, he's been terrible. I don't know what the hell's going on. Danny asks who this Lazaro guy is and the 7 million talking about with Inter. So the 7 million is Inter wanted 7 million for João Mario, and then Sporting was threatening to go to court if he went to Benfica because the anti-rival clause in his contract, which FIFA had already penalized Sporting for in a previous contract because they say that's not allowed. But in order to basically avoid all of that court shit, Rui Costa ended up going to Milan and having dinner with Rui Pedro Braz and the president from Inter. And they basically agreed that, hey, we're going to rescind the contract with João Mario. He'll go to you guys for free. And, one hand washes the other. And there's a rumor that he's not going to end up being free because Benfica has kind of like an obligation to take someone off of Inter's books at some point. To kind of offset that value of them not being able to make that 7 million off of him. Whether it's
so Lazaro is going to cost like 18 million.
So isn't that what Luis Felipe Vieira got in trouble for? Like shady business like that?
But this is not shady. This is legit. I mean, they resigned contract.
It's one hand washes the other, right? It's common practice.
Let's think about this. Lazaro kid probably is going to cost us 18 million. Who are we to say is not worth 18 million? We paid 25 million for Darwin.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a tough market.
We shall see, my friends. We shall see.
Tough market. All right, moving on to the next topic. Just quickly here in the questions or comments. Danny says, "Told you guys he sucked when I saw him in Foxborough. He's top heavy." Inter's president says they're not selling anymore. I heard that Lazaro also didn't want to come to Benfica. He was waiting on his other options. Danny says, "Did you guys get that from shitbiggiesays.com?" Do you guys think Bruno will have a successful go while at Wolverhampton? We'll leave that for a quick chat at the end, Giuseppe. In terms of the next topic here, expectations for the season. With all the signings, if Benfica gets past Spartak, we will have played double the games that Sporting and Porto have played in the month of August. So a heavy month ahead of us if we get past Spartak. I open up this question to you guys in terms of kind of overall. One, in terms of expectations going into the season, how do you think we'll do in comparison to what we had last year? Do you think the team's more balanced? Formation wise, where do you guys see that falling? And I'll leave the last one for the end, the point prediction. But yeah, Jay, I'll start with you. What are your expectations going into this? Do you think we'll play a 3-back? Do you think we'll lean more on a 4-back? Do you think we'll play with 2 strikers? Do you think we'll play with 3 in the front? How are you feeling?
Well, for my expectations, is definitely first place. We have to win this season. Especially, there shouldn't be any more excuses with anything. Hopefully, we have some fans coming back into the stadiums going forward as well. As far as a team, I think we did pretty good in reinforcing our midfield. That's especially one area that we struggled, and we got another forward to add to our collection. We just have to wait on and see. I'm hoping that they play with a 3-back system, to be honest. I kind of like the options going forward. I like how the team goes with, especially having Lucas Verissimo, Otamendi, and Vertonghen in the back. I really like that. I think Lucas Verissimo is going to be a stud, personally. I think he's going to be our best defender this season. But yeah, I'm excited overall. I just hope that we have better results, and we got to get Champions League. We need to qualify, even though we have 2 rounds that we have to get through. We have to get through this one first. But my expectations are high. I'm expecting them first place. I'm expecting them to be in the Champions League. I'm expecting Darwin to have a breakout season, so Oscar shuts the hell up. I'm even hoping PZ plays a lot better, so I can shut the hell up.
Okay.
But we'll see. I had these expectations last season, and it didn't pan out. And I'm just really hoping that this year is the year.
All right. Before I go to Kenny, if we play a back 4, who are your 2 center backs in that back 4?
The Tank?
Yeah, Tank.
Oh, I thought you were asking Kenny. Luca and Otamendi. Lucas Verissimo and Otamendi.
Okay. Kenny, expectations, and I'll ask you the same question. If we play a back 4, who would your 2 center backs be?
So expectations for the season overall, or for the upcoming Champions League match?
The season. We'll touch briefly on the Champions League.
All right. So yeah, I mean, the goals are all the same. I mean, it's every year. It's win the league, win as many cups as you can, get into Champions League. We've created, we've made it more difficult for ourselves this year with, qualifying into Champions League. So, I think the biggest problem last year, like everyone's talked about, everyone knows, was the midfield. We've reinforced the midfield with a quality player that's played in Portugal, and João Mario, I think, is going to be a big piece of that. But at the end of the day, I still think that there's clearly some weaknesses still on this team. I don't like we talked about the right back, the left back position. Grimaldo can be on one day and be off the next. Like, he's not that good of a defender, but he's good going forward. So it all depends, what happens there if we get another player or not. But I think it's going to be, everything. I still feel like it was a rushed preseason, even though we've had time to play. Like, we've gotten a lot of new players in the last couple of days. It almost kind of feels, we got the whole Luis Filipe thing, distraction with the elections at the end of the year, potentially. So there's going to be a lot of distractions. Hopefully we can, get over all of it and put ourselves back where we belong on top, and have a much better season, play much better football. And that's really what I'm hoping for. Just not to be as embarrassing of a season as it was last year.
If we play with 2 strikers, Lucas says here, we've had the most success with JJ playing in a 4-4-2.
Yeah.
If we play with 2 strikers, who are your 2 strikers, Kenny?
Yeah, so I actually think it's going to be another season of a mix of a 4-4-2 and a 3-4-3, depending on matchups. And I think we have a big team in players to play all those positions, right? I think he's set up the team where he can play those 2 systems when need be. 4-4-2. I've been a Darwin guy, right? I'm not gonna give up on him now, but he hasn't played. I think if Yaremchuk starts, and I'm assuming Seth leaves. If Seth stays, I'd like to still see Seth in there matched up with a Yaremchuk or Gonzalo Ramos, but I just don't see, you can't just leave Darwin on the bench. So I assume Seth leaves, and it's going to be a dupla of probably Yaremchuk and Darwin until Darwin shows that he can either do it or he can't, and then maybe Ramos steps in.
Okay. Before I go to Oscar, Jay, do you agree with that? Those two?
I would probably go with Seth, but I'm all for having Gonzalo Ramos play. Yeah, so yeah, I like those two options.
Oscar.
Well, guys, I looking at the preseason, we talked about the preseason games in the last few weeks and whatnot. We basically couldn't create offense. I don't know if Tank you watch any of the games. So we play Lille from France. We shot 5 times, they shot 9. We on goal 2 times, they hit 8 on goal, and we scored 1 goal. Against Marseille, we tied 1-1. We shot 3 shots the whole game and 1 on goal, and that was the only goal that we scored. That's to me, it's not like this is the last game before we play on a Champions League. That's not enough. That's not enough. And Mike, you said it yourself. I only judge this team by the last 2 preseason games, and you said you saw a lot of positives. How can you say we tied Marseille at home 1-1? We shot 1 time on goal, be a positive for this offense? It's not when you spend millions and millions of dollars to create this team.
But how many minutes do these guys play?
They play with the starting 11 because that's most of the guys that are available. They play.
Yeah, but when are they? How many minutes do they play? Do they play a half? Do they play?
Yeah, you're playing at home against, and so is the other team.
Sometimes nothing happens in 45 minutes. You have to play the rest of the second half.
Yeah, but you shot 1 time on goal against Marseille a game before the Champions League, which is a knockout. That's not enough. That's not enough. I
agree with that.
So to me, I would go with a 3 defensive, 3 backs, just because it allows you to create more offense. And obviously, my 3 backs is Verissimo, Otamendi, Vertonghen. In the middle now is João Mario. I feel having that number 8, it gives me enough freedom for Pizzi to do whatever he can up on the number 10 role. So if we have Weigl, Mario, and Pizzi as a triangle in the middle, with the top being Rafa, and check out what this Yaremchuk guy has to offer, Seferovic and Everton. That's my starting 11 to attack the Champions League.
Damn. Okay. Wait. Well, you're saying that's the 11 for Wednesday.
Tomorrow, for the Wednesday, whatever Thursday. Okay. That's to attack this Spartak. Look, I checked Spartak's stats too. They played Ruben. They lost 1-0. They had 13 shots, 8 against, 9 chances created, 1 for Ruben, 1 chance. So Spartak's not a joke. They have a lot of offense, and they're not going to be easy to just go by this round. We have our hands full for this game. It's not to be a joke. I think it's going to be a harder game than when we lost last year to the scrubs that we lost to.
Yeah, we'll touch on that quickly. Before we jump into that, I want to play a little game here with you guys. What do you think the point total prediction will be for the season? So just for context, last year Benfica finished with 76 points in third. First place at 85, second place at 80. 2019-20, 82, 77, 60. 2018, 87, 85, 74. 17-18, 88, 81, 78. 16-17, 82, 76, 70. So champion has ranged between 82 and 88. I went back and looked at JJ's numbers since he was at Benfica. 2009-2010, he won the league with 76 points, 24, 4, and 2. The next 3 years, he finished second with 63 points, 69 points, 77 points. 2013-14, he won it with 74 points, 23, 5, and 2. 2014-15, he won it with 85 points, 27, 4, and 3. And then last year, he finished with 76 in third, 23, 7, and 4. Last year, ironically, was the largest amount of losses he suffered in the league for Benfica. The previous amount was 3. So he had the most amount of losses. He had second most goals conceded in his tenure at Benfica. Last time they conceded 27 was in 2011, 2012, and they conceded 31 in 2010, 2011, but they normally have been 20 or less. So Jay, I'll start with you. What is your prediction in terms of points? So there's 102 points up for grabs in the whole season. What's going to be your prediction that you think we finish? So again, champions in the last 5 years have ranged between 82 and 88.
87.
Okay. Oscar?
I'm going to go 80.
Ooh. Kenny?
I'll give them 2 more ties. 82.
I'm going to go 88.
You have high hopes. You saw a lot of good things this preseason.
I have my hopes.
Apparently you did.
I did not.
All right, we got about 10, 12 minutes.
And just I'm on Oscar's bandwagon this year. Like I'm gonna be total Jesus fucking out the door.
Oh man.
If like I'm I gave him a lot of excuses last year, but this year I agree with everything he said. This preseason was not as promising, but I think that there was a lot going on and
with the COVID, right?
I'm gonna piggyback on that. I kind of agree with
COVID.
that. He needs to win, or else he needs to see the door.
This next 3 games, guys, 3 games, which is 2 games against Spartak and Moreirense, first game of the season, will dictate a lot of this season.
It will, but then again, last year we started off on a good form and it fell apart.
I know, but last year we had an excuse that he wasn't here long enough. The COVID. This year he's been here for a year, had the whole team for a year, and he could connect the puzzle however you wanted it, and this is what he did. So now this is all on him. I don't want to hear no more excuses.
Yeah, he needs to produce. I'm on the same boat. He needs to, or else he's gonna.
I agree. When you spend that much money on a coach and a coaching staff, you need results, right?
For me, the beginning. I mean, getting into Champions League is a must. Like if he wants to start off slow in the league, if we had to choose, right, it's got to be getting into Champions League.
Got to
start off slow in the league, fine. Got to get into Champions League. So now, I mean. Writing's on the wall.
But then what do? You we're paying this guy $4 million. It's gonna be another Samadi story. Pay me the $4 million, or I won't leave.
Well, I mean that's
when you kind of cut your losses and you move on.
Yeah, I guess. But then there's another $4 million.
It is, but that's why we need to get into Champions League, right? If we get into Champions League and he sucks in the league, that financial cushion makes it less difficult, right?
Do you think we buy more players too with that money if we do?
If we get into Champions League, I wouldn't be surprised if we make 1 or 2 more signings before the end of the month, depending on if there's people that leave. I wouldn't be surprised, but
not big signings. Just
no. But I think it'll depend on.
We'll probably buy the Maserati guy. We'll probably spend that kind of money with Braga. We probably would.
Surprised.
But
then you have Weigl, Maite, and Al Musrati, and then João Mario. That's a lot of guys.
But you think the Maite is going to come in and start right away?
No, but you also invested $7 million on him.
Right.
Then you're gonna go spend 20 or whatever the hell they want for Al Musrati. Plus you got Weigl. It cost you 25 or 22.
We usually do good in that position. We usually do pretty well in that position, I will say.
The defensive mid?
Yeah.
We've had some good ones over the last 10 years.
Really good ones. Yeah. Javi, Matic, Feja.
Enzo converted.
Yeah, Enzo. Like we had some good dudes.
Enzo was more of a box to box. He was playing with Matic.
He was a machine in that spot.
Yeah.
Kenny, what were you gonna say?
I was gonna say they could start, looking at another center back because I'm still not 100% sold on Vertonghen, and I mean Otamendi's probably his last year here.
Dude, our number 4 is Ferro.
Oh God. Wednesday we go to Moscow to take on Rui Vitoria's Spartak Moscow. As Oscar said, they lost their first game. I actually watched that match. I wasn't impressed, I'll be honest. They were a team that doesn't use the center of the park very much. They play very direct from their back line to their wingers, Quincy Promise and Victor Moses, fast players trying to play direct, take advantage of that pace. They did create a lot of chances in the last 10, 15 minutes. They were trailing. They conceded a goal off a shot from outside the box and it deflected off the defender and beat the goalie. But in terms of the collective, I wasn't necessarily impressed by them in that first game. Then again, it was the first game of the season. I didn't get a chance to watch them this past weekend. I think the team that they played against actually just came up to the first division. So, but they scraped away with the 1-0, and I think they actually scored off a penalty. But like Oscar said, right, these Russian teams are never an easy bone to chew, especially in Moscow. I imagine they're going to have fans in the stadium. One other note in this match, since it's the pre-elimination, it's not technically considered the Champions League. So one thing, you guys won't hear the Champions League anthem before the match. And there's no VAR in this match or either of these matches, which I think is interesting because, right, we have the capabilities to have VAR in a friendly match between Benfica and Casa Pia at the Seychelles, but we don't have the capabilities to have VAR in this type of match, right? There's a lot of money at stake, which confuses the shit out of me, but it is what it is. For this match, we have taken with us Odysseus, Elton, Svilad, Grimaldo, Morato, Diogo Gonçalves, Vertonghen, Otamendi, Gilberto, Lucas Veríssimo, Tarat, Maite, Rafa, Pizzi, Jetson, Florentino, Gil Dias, João Mário, Weigl, Everton, Rodrigo Pinho, Vinicius, Seferovic, Waldschmidt, and Gonçalo Ramos. Obviously, Yaramchuk can't play yet. He will be able to play on Saturday against Moreirense. Benfica has removed Chiquinho from the Champions League list to replace him with Yaramchuk so he can play in the second leg next week against Spartak at home. Kenny, I'll start with you. Oscar kind of gave us a synopsis on what he thought was going to happen in this game. How are you feeling? Confidence level 0 to 10. How do you feel?
I feel the same way as Oscar. I'm not.
Dude,
that
this
confident.
kid, he's been campaigning this whole offseason. He's got Kenny on his boat.
No, I mean, dude, we come off a bad season. I mean, it's still. The preseason didn't go that well, right? I mean, we didn't lose games, but we didn't look that great. But then again, it's preseason. But yeah, I'm nervous. I mean, it's I don't know. It's just I don't care how we do it. We just got to get it done. Like, it could look ugly, I guess. It can be controversial. I don't care. It needs to go well for us on Wednesday. So then when's the second leg? On Saturday?
No, so Saturday we play Moreirense. The second leg's on the 10th, which is next Tuesday, which hopefully I'll be there for. So
yeah, hopefully that game, like, we got a comfortable cushion, lead, away goal, whatever it is, and we can play more comfortably. But yeah, it's going to be an important match. I really don't know what the lineup's going to look like. I mean, it's really a toss up with Jesus. I mean, he changed the roster so much last year, playing 4-4-2, then going back to the 3. Then it's just, I don't know what he's going to do. So I'm curious to see how he starts the season, and maybe he'll maintain a more of a common starting 11 than he did last year, because I feel like we have better quality players.
If you don't mind me chiming in, I think because this game is in Russia, right? The first game is away.
Yes.
I think this game he goes a 4 back. I think he'll go with the Gilberto. The back. I don't know if it'll be audio or late. I think he'll be
Odysseus. Elton is suspended for the first league game
of the season. Yeah.
So that's why he's probably going to go.
Okay, so Odysseus will be in the goal. I think it'll be the whole Gilberto. Remember that, guys? It's going to be Gilberto.
I agree.
Verissimo, Otamendi, Grimaldo, and I think he'll go with Weigl, Mario, and Pizzi. Okay, and I think Rafa, Seth, and to be honest with you, I don't see if Everton starts, because Everton hasn't played, right? So no, Everton won't start. So it might be like I have no idea who's going to play on the left side since Serbi's go. Who else do we have there? Luca, maybe.
You could throw Luca. You could throw maybe Gonçalo Ramos could play on the wing.
Yeah, but they'll play 2 strikers because I don't think Yarmolenko will start. I think Seth will start.
He can't play.
Yeah, he can't play.
Yaramchuk's not there.
Unless Pizzi goes to the wing.
I disagree with you guys. I think he's going to go with 3 at the back, and defensively we'll play with a 5 to be able to stop Quincy Promise and Victor Moses' pace.
But who do you play there? And then to stop those guys?
You play with the 3 backs, Odysseus or Otamendi, Vertonghen, Lucas Veríssimo. Right. And then you have Gilberto on the right. You have Grimaldo on the left.
At the wing backs,
in the midfield, you have Weigl and João Mario 5, 6, 7. You got Gonçalo Ramos, I think, is going to start because he started every game pretty much. Rafa and Pizzi.
You think he starts with Gonçalo Ramos, not Seferovic, on this game where he can hold? He has to hold the ball up.
Dude, you have to play your fucking hot hand, dude. Gonçalo started, I think, every preseason game,
and he's been playing good.
He has. Right here, this guy. See, Lucas got my mind right here. This exact lineup.
I wouldn't mind that lineup.
I wouldn't mind that either. I just my thing is, I don't know if he starts Gonçalo over Seferovic. That's my only thing. Because that lineup is probably one of my favorite lineups.
When does that no away goal come to effect?
It doesn't go. It doesn't affect this year. It's gone.
It's gone already.
Yeah, so you can score. It can be 2-2 there, 1-1 here, and
the away goal doesn't matter. The away goal doesn't matter for sure.
But that already counts for the pre-knockout.
I think so. I think it goes into effect as of now. So that means if we tie 2-2 there and 1-1 here, we still have to go to PKs.
Damn.
We'll have to take a look at that.
Yeah, look that up. Maybe. Where'd you find that on Ship Biggie Says?
No, I mean I saw it on the record or a bola or something like that.
No, they definitely passed it. I just don't know if it applies to only in the competitions or if it applies for the phases to get into the competitions. But it'll be something we can take a look at.
Yeah, we'll look at it.
Lucas says 1-0 Benfica. Rafa scores. I'll start with you guys in terms of predictions. Oscar, I'll start with you.
I think it'll be a 1-1 game.
Are we keeping track again this year?
Oh, yeah. This is the first prediction. Back to the prediction league. We got a full season now. Every official match is in there. Zekamp was won it last year. Jay came in close second. I thought he was going to take it, but they both predicted a win in the last game. So clean slate here. So 1-1 for Oscar.
I won the American trophy.
Jay, what's your prediction?
We're doing Wednesday's game. I'm going to go 2-0.
Us?
Benfica?
Yeah.
Because that's 0-2.
0-2.
Yeah. Kenny?
I said 2-0 Benfica.
Yeah. Get it straight.
All right, I'll go 0-1.
Okay. I'll have to get Billy's prediction. He's sleeping right now in Portugal. I'm going to go, you know what? Luca predicted my lineup as well, so I'm going to ride with him. I'm going to go 0-1 Benfica as well.
Luca Furtado.
Okay. That closes off Wednesday's game. Quickly, I just want to do quick prediction for, actually, I'm going to ask, there's a couple questions in here, and I just want an answer. I don't know. I don't want why. I don't want you to elaborate. Just give me an answer. Gary, what player do you think will be the biggest disappointment this season? Jay.
Easy.
Dude, that's
Shut up. Kenny.
It's the only one that came into my head, dude.
Biggest disappointment this season?
Yeah,
that's longer than explanations.
I'm trying to think. Like, I think it's gonna be Vertonghen.
That's a good shout. Oscar?
I am going to say
Darwin.
No, Darwin is a given because he's hurt, and then you guys will say they probably got COVID because he was hurt. I get it. So it's a given. But the biggest disappointment is going to be probably this Yarmolenchuk guy, because we have so much high expectations, just like Darwin, and then it's probably going to be a disappointment.
Wow, dude, Oscar hates every forward we get.
No, I don't. And Pino's a given, but Pino won't play. Stay.
Okay. I don't want to say Gilberto because you guys will say I'm always beating on a dead horse. So I'm going to go with Kenny Shutt. I think that's a good shot. I think Vertonghen is one of those guys that I think could be on that fence.
He could potentially lose his spot to Morata.
Can I change mine? Because I was looking around with PZ. I would say Grimaldo.
Okay.
Disappointment?
He might not be here, so we'll see.
Maybe that's going to be a disappointment.
All right. Got another one here. Again, yes or no? Jay, I'll start with you. Do you think Benfica has done enough to overtake Sporting and Porto? Question from Giuseppe.
I sure fucking hope so. I think so. I think that they reinforce where they need to be, so I say yes.
Oscar?
I say yes because Porto and Sporting haven't done shit to strengthen their teams.
Okay. Kenny?
Sporting's good, guys. Sporting's good. Sporting might have not. They fill their gaps and I really like Ruben Amorim.
They lost their best player,
Pot's still there. What are you talking about?
João Mario.
Listen, I think their challenge is going to be the schedule, the games with Champions League and the loaded
Yeah, it's not once a week anymore.
right, but they're good, dude. They're good. I saw the Supertaça game. They're I mean, I think they're for real. I hope the cliff is there this year, but I hope it's another 20 years. But
Jonathan's creeping. He's waiting for the cliff.
According to Oscar, they got to climb it first. They got to climb it to the top, and then that's when they fall off.
Well,
All
Porto's been quiet. I don't know what Porto's really done, but I think we can surpass them. But I think Spartak's still they're the top dogs. They're the ones to beat.
All right. One last rapid fire question. This one's for me. Who do you think is the breakout player of the season, Oscar?
The breakout player this season, I think it's going to be Rafa.
Okay. Oh, shout out. Hi to Amanda. Got a new listener, new watcher.
Amanda.
Jay or Kenny, breakout player of the season.
Like just for Benfica or the top three?
Yeah, Benfica.
For Benfica. Listen, I was on the Darwin band. I'm Yaremchuk. I'm going with him.
Oh
right.
God.
Jay.
We have to nail one. I mean, we can't just keep getting nails suck.
I'm going with the guy that's going to fix our midfield, João Mario.
Okay. I'm going with Everton.
I like that too.
I think he has a breakout season.
I like that one. Mike.
He started coming on late last season. I feel like he understands what the hell he needs to do.
Hey, can I ask one for Oscar?
Yeah.
What would, because I know, Darwin, to make it a successful season, everyone wants to look at goals and assists and whatever. What would be a successful season for you, Oscar, for a new player like Yaremchuk? What would be successful?
Him being consistent.
How do you rate consistency? Though?
Consistency is he gets a spot and doesn't lose it. Consistency is what Cardozo did. Started off bad, but then once he got a spot, he didn't lose it.
Like, was Seth consistent last year?
Seth is not consistent.
26 goals last year.
Yeah, but dude, he was not consistent. When we needed Seth, he didn't show up. When he needed Seth to step up, he didn't. We all talk shit about him. He missed 10 goals to score one.
So, but you wouldn't consider that a successful season for him?
For him, personally wise, yes. But if he had scored his goals, we would have been champions. The goals he missed as sitters.
He's practically the leading scorer of the league.
I know, but he was look, Potts scored all those goals, but they were champions. Okay, so if Seth scored the goals that he missed, that we all talked about here last year, we would be champions. 100%.
Yeah, but what about the rest of the team? It's not just. Yeah,
but we talked about Seth missing sitters, legit sitters that you don't miss as a professional, and he missed a lot of them. We all said it here.
So what would put a number on it? What would be a
for first season?
For first season, Yaremchuk
in all competitions.
In all competitions. For a striker, and I'm not saying he's gonna do this. I mean, if a striker that plays consistently, so it's not like in one game and then plays and then 2 weeks later, I want 20 plus goals for Benfica as the first year.
Okay.
For Yaremchuk?
Yeah, for Yaremchuk. That's what I want. That's what I wanted from Darwin.
I think that's a realistic expectation, given that he's an international for Ukraine.
Yeah. He's got experience, right? Like if he can't come in and score in the Portuguese league 20 goals, I would agree with Oscar. I think that's a reasonable
100%
threshold.
Okay. It's not terrible.
Fair enough. I was going to ask you guys Mourinho's prediction, but I think that may change based on how things go on Wednesday, so I'll hold off on that one for now.
Yeah.
Boys, that's been our first one back. Let's see. We got Giuseppe says he's going to get 20 goals.
I hope he does.
We need Darwin to not average more offsides than goals.
I agree. Totally
shout out. Let's see. Shout out to everyone here in the chat. We had Joaquin at the beginning, Luca, Telmo, Giuseppe, Jean Miguel. Who else we have in here? Gary. Danny jumped in there as well. Who else am I missing?
Hey, Mikey De Castro, your hat's coming.
Mikey De Castro, yeah, Mikey De Castro.
Your hat's coming. I guess he wants a hat.
JD,
that New Haven hat.
Can't forget JD. We had a couple more. Amanda, new watcher, new listener. We had a couple good comments in there. So thanks for jumping in the conversation. Game on Wednesday. I will be across the pond as of Thursday. Hopefully, I will have a ticket to go watch Benfica Spartak for the second game. Hopefully, we can coordinate to do a podcast while I'm there, or a few. I just have to figure out my Wi-Fi situation.
Wi-Fi or wife?
Both. And then we'll figure it out. We'll probably do one live with the Portuguese crew while I'm there. Season 2 of the Portuguese podcast begins tomorrow, 4:30 p.m. Eastern. Don't forget to check us out on YouTube, subscribe to the channel, follow us on Facebook. We are knocking on the door of 15,000 followers. Before we came on, we were at 14,700. So we're getting close. Hopefully we can break that 15,000 mark soon. Subscribe to our channel on YouTube. On Facebook, we'll continue 1904 because they limited my amount of characters. And on Instagram, we'll continue Benfiquista as always. Boys, it was a good initial conversation, a lot to cover. Hopefully next time we meet, it'll be a smile on our face with a victory against Moreirense, a positive result against Rui Vitória and the Russians. And hopefully we're well on our way to the next round of qualification for the Champions League.
Hey, one thing to add. I know a lot of people wanted, Luis Felipe Vieira out of there, start a new era. This could be the start of a new era under Rui Costa. So hopefully everyone can get behind each other, behind the team, and we get a fresh start this season, and we start off hot. Because I just can't deal with these Spartakistas. They might be worse than the Portistas. Really.
Hey, dude, they're already saying that your cousin's already saying João Mari wasn't that special. He's not that great.
He did.
He leaves the team and he sucks now, I guess.
No, he's just trying to trigger us.
It's not going to work. We all know João Mari, what he's capable of doing.
And Giuseppe asked me, will Arsenal finish above Tottenham this season? I don't want to talk about Arsenal right now. Hopefully.
Above the low blow.
Hopefully they do.
Wait, didn't Tottenham get a Portuguese coach?
Yeah, Nuno Espírito Santo.
Yeah, then they're definitely finishing above Arsenal.
Amanda says don't hate on Porto, Jay.
Porto sucks.
Yeah, boys, we will chat again in a week. Thanks everyone that was listening, watching. Don't forget to follow us, subscribe, like, everything. Share this if you liked it. If you didn't like it, share it too. We can reach more people, and we will catch you guys in a week. And don't forget, tomorrow, Portuguese podcast, 4:30 p.m. Eastern, 21:30 local time in Portugal. And we will catch you guys next week. See you, boys.
See ya.